Hey, and we are live. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and today is the first of what is hopefully a series of Mandalorian Mondays. Why, you ask? Because Mike likes alliteration, and because there's a new season of Mandalorian starting October 30th, 4 days away.
When did they announce that? Holy crap.
October 30th? Like a year ago, right?
I'm kidding.
All right. And it's 1 minute long, so just to set the tone, I'm going to play that the second trailer that just came out like a month ago. So you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
So you got the magic button.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, so good.
Right off the bat, he's got X-Wings on him.
Yeah,
That
that was a
can't
nice
be good.
touch.
I'm here on business. I need your help. I've been quested to bring this one back to its kind.
I needed one of those disruptor
If I can
rifles.
locate other Mandalorians,
Yeah.
We all
they
do.
can guide me.
This is no place for a child.
If they had a celebration this year, that would have been the big
Wherever
accessory.
I go, he goes.
The visuals in this series are so good.
Did you
Notice
watch?
the blue guy from the first episode?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Did you watch the behind the scenes stuff for this? That's on
I got-
Disney Plus.
I got through most of it. It was pretty good conversations. A tad self-congratulatory, but
Even still, I mean the segment with Dave Filoni talking about his vision of Star Wars.
Yes.
I watched it the other day again, and man, I got chills. It was like, this dude is so in love with this franchise. Why isn't he at the wheel? You know what I mean?
Filoni gets it.
I mean, Farvo is good too. But like just that Duel of the Fates conversation they had, I was like, 8-year-old me was like, I like Star Wars,
Filoni gets it. It's just I never wanted to see behind the scenes. That's like seeing how the magician does his tricks to me. So, but I did see that conversation because it made the rounds, and Filoni as a storyteller has proven, both with Ahsoka and with what he did with Maul, has proven that he gets Star Wars. So when he says this is what, then okay, sure.
yeah, I like Filoni just because he reminds me of about a half dozen geeks I've known. Oh God, over the last 35 years.
It's the hat, isn't it?
That's
He's
part
got that
of it,
weird
yeah.
cowboy hat that he always
Yeah.
wears.
He's like that really intense dude you meet over the long boxes in your local comic shop, who's really passionate about a very specific fandom, who's been given the chance to like do it right. So, and Walt's wearing a Mandalorian hat. What the hell? That's pretty cool.
It's Mandalorian Monday.
It is Mandalorian Monday. Josh, I understand you're a big Mando fan. What are your thoughts on season 2?
I just watched the finale for season 1 today before the show, and if the storyline and the writing and the presentation from season 1 is anything to go on, and then the trailer for season 2, you can tell that the people behind the show are really cognizant of the failures of the new trilogy and have gone in a direction where they understand that the fans aren't dumb and the fans understand Star Wars, and they're giving them a smart Star Wars story instead of a merchandising opportunity. And the storyline, it's simple, but it's compelling, and they're not messing, like even with the cool dark saber at the end, where that's already been established, I think in Clone Wars or Rebels, one of the cartoons.
Both.
Both. But they aren't doing anything weird like they did in the Last Jedi, where they and Rise of Skywalker, where they kind of made up some new force powers out of kind of whole cloth and affected the way that the continuity of the universe for the Force works. And it seems like you were just saying, Filoni gets the story, and that it's really important when you're doing something like this in a universe that's so established like Star Wars, to get the story right, and then everything else is just kind of icing on the cake. I'm really excited for it. I think they blew any expectation out of the water. There was only one episode that I didn't really like out of the first season, and that was the Outpost episode where they fought an AT-AT. Episode 4. There you go. And that
I,
that
I, I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
say I
Will.
remember that discussion on Keystroke Medium, and
Yeah.
you and Scott like went into depth on it. It was really good episode. But not the number 4, the Keystroke Medium episode. I'm
Yeah,
pimping.
it just, you look at it story wise, and it just didn't work at all. And that's okay. I think in every series, you're probably going to have maybe 1 or 2 fillers that aren't really good. But overall, man, I'm excited for the next season.
I just really want the end of the episode. For,
Okay. Can I jump in
Amanda-
on 2 things that you just said?
Go for it, Joe.
So your point about the movies making up new stuff out of whole cloth and the EU stuff not doing that, that's the difference between the movies and the EU. That's the latitude that the movies have because they're the movies.
Right.
And the EU tries not to do that. They expand on the themes. The movies are where the new themes are made, and the EU is where they riff on that. And also, the whole point of episode 4 was episode 4 in The Mandalorian was here's Cara Dune. She's a badass.
It's true.
That
is true. Yeah.
I think some of the I like the episode for what it's worth, but I liked it because honestly that one reminded me of watching Gunsmoke with my dad when I was a kid, and the long gunfight.
Yeah, it had kind of like a 7 Samurai thing going on.
I kind of wanted the Mandalorian tell a little girl from the village, go tell your mom all the blasters are gone from the valley. At the very end. But hey, speaking of Star Wars stuff, I know we don't have a lot of time. Can we take a quick look at the I'll have the Squadrons trailer playing with the sound off, Joe, and you can give us your impressions of this game.
Okay.
All right, let me cue that up here through technical wizardry.
I got to say that in the last couple of video games, the guys over at LucasArts and Electronic Arts have done amazing things with their trailers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, there have been game trailers I enjoyed way more than some movies in the Star Wars franchise.
Yes, 100%.
So, Joe, you've been spending a lot of time in this game. How do you like it?
I have to say thank you for this game because I've been begging EA for it specifically for 20 years. There was an older game called the X-Wing Alliance, which was a flight sim. Did pretty much the same things that Squadron does. And they did that, and then for 20, 30 years, they didn't do any Star Wars flight sims. And so I bugged them on Twitter talking about, you got to do this. What are you waiting for? And they did it, and I really like it. The online is challenging. You have to chase people that I went 0 for 10 last night. It was ridiculous. I couldn't catch anybody. My rank went down.
I didn't realize it was an online game. That shows how out of it I am. That's cool.
Yeah. So there's 3 main things you can do. You can do the story, and the story is pretty cool. On one side, it follows the Empire trying to kind of recoalesce after Endor, and on the other side, it follows what's a project called the Starhawk Project. And I don't really want to spoil that. There's a lot of plot going on there, but there's some. They want to say pretty badly that Starhawk is like the Rebellion's Death Star project, and it's kind of not the same thing. So that's a little weird, but otherwise the story is fun. And then after the story, you do the AI fleet battles, where you're in a fighter and you engage. There's a capital ship, and they have their frigates in front of them, and you have to engage the frigates before you can get to the capital ship, and then you engage the capital ship system by system and blow it up. And then after you've done that a couple times against the AI, okay, now you can go against other players, and now there's other players in the fighters coming at you from the other side.
I'm getting the impression this isn't a game for a casual player. Am I right or wrong about that?
It is in the story mode and in the AI mode. Once you go online, the difficulty curve, it gets steep.
Yeah, because you could be playing against dudes who like this is what they do for a living.
Right, and the other thing is this game is like set up for a VR and a HOTAS, like a hands-on throttle and stick setup.
That would be badass.
And if you get somebody that has that whole setup, they're gonna tear you up. Like there's just no two ways around it.
Right on, Josh. Do you play games like that?
I used to, like, I remember back in the day playing like Wing Commander and a lot of World War II fighter games. I think Wing Commander was the only space fighter game that I've ever played, but like never online. It was always like the storyline battles and stuff. I've watched the gameplay of this game, and I really like the immersive feel that you have being in the battle. Like that I think that would be really cool. And then the online play, the only online games I've ever played first-person shooters. I've never done a shoot fighter game like this. I might have to get it and check it out.
Now I wonder, can you do this in Minecraft?
Yeah. Yeah. I know that people have made games in Minecraft. I doubt you could do this in Minecraft, but
You couldn't do anything else ever with your life, but you might be able to.
yeah.
There would be a lot of time setting it up. But this kind of reminds me of my old days playing Crimson Skies on the Xbox.
Oh, wow.
I tell like you could
I
do
remember that
actual
game, yeah.
fighter tactics from World War II. Like I learned the thatch weave and the high yo-yo because of these games to
Oh, wow.
dogfight people in these games.
That's a big step from Wing Commander, where remember Wing Commander back in the day where there really was no tactics except you kept waiting for the guy to break off or break at just the right angle so you could actually shoot him in front of you. Anything like actual dogfighting. Yeah. Whatever happened to Wing Commander? That guy's doing Star Citizen now, right? Chris
Yeah.
Roberts?
Oh, that movie was terrible. Like I played the game, but that movie was bad.
I can't argue with you. It was a very bad movie. So,
Wing Commander was the same year Wing Commander the movie came out. I remember liking it at first, but then as I continued to watch it, I really was like, okay, this is really dumb. But that same year, I remember that Titan AE came out. And
that was good.
That was an awesome animated flick.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Has it aged well?
I think it's aged, yeah.
You're gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
been
it's
a
aged
while.
pretty well.
I know Josh Whedon has kind of disowned it, but I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, it was a decent. I mean, there's nothing groundbreaking in it, but it had some pretty cool entertainment, some animation in it, and the storyline was decent.
I think the thing about Wing Commander, to go back to that, is besides being some of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s best work,
Hey
am I
man, that's
lying?
Kanan, isn't it?
Is it? It might
Freddie
be.
Prinze Jr. Yeah,
He
that's
does
Kanan
a lot of
Jarrus.
voice work now. Yeah, good
The
point.
guy from Rebels.
Yeah, my bad. The original Wing Commander was the closest thing we had to a Battlestar Galactica game at the time. Hey, there he is on Walt's screen. Let me see if I can give Walt the
Oh yeah.
boom.
I don't know
there
if
you
it'll
go.
focus.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like for a now defunct Disney like computer game. You had these little stations, and when you put the character on the station, it would pop into the video game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Rebels, so I have all the figures on my desk.
I love
Did
Rebels,
you
and
guys
I
hear
love that
about
they're
the-
talking about bringing some of the characters back for season 2 of Mandalorian.
Oh, right on.
Should we touch on the Ahsoka thing?
Hold on, Josh. Did you have something to say real quick?
I was gonna say, did you guys hear about the controversy with what is his name? The guy that plays Mando.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, about him possibly not wanting to continue to do it because he's not getting any FaceTime because he can't take his helmet off, and that's how the premise is basically that he doesn't feel that the show is building his personal brand because people don't see him, they only see the helmet. And so like with like Cara Dune, and even I can't remember what the black guy's name is.
Karga, Grief Karga.
Yeah, well, you see their faces, and even Baby Yoda, you see their face, and they get FaceTime, and he doesn't. There's not anything in it. So I guess there were some really big conversations about whether or not he was actually going to continue to be the Mandalorian or
But
not.
I haven't seen a single decent source on that.
Really?
All I've seen is clickbait.
Okay.
If that was really happening, if he was really gonna give up that role in any real way, EW and Variety would be all over that because that's what they do.
Yeah.
There was a so that rumor thing that you're talking about came out in late August. At the end of September, Inverse.com and several other places did some rebuttals saying that they believe it was something he said taken out of context on set, and somebody sold it to one of these clickbait type deals, and but it was he's getting a lot of exposure for this, and the article goes on to say that he trusts a lot of what's going on because in the majority, he, even though he's kind of like the main draw for the show because he's the main character, he doesn't have to do a lot of physicality for that role because a lot of the times in the armor it's a stunt double.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
There's that thing about one of them being John Wayne's grandson.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah. I just I love the fact that Gina Carano's getting another bite at the apple with this too, because I'm a super fan. I used to love watching her fight.
Yep.
And I like her, even though some of her movies are a little dubious. Haywire, I thought was
Haywire
good.
was awesome.
Daughter of the Wolf, which is really, I thought it was one of her more recent releases, and that was very good. I think that if more of these actors that really want to get into roles where they have to be physical would actually do a physical pursuit like that, it would translate a lot better on the screen. I mean, if you look at the travesty that was Iron Fist, I thought the guy who played the Knight of Flowers on Game of Thrones is a great actor, and he got into that role, and they did not put him through like an intensive Keanu Reeves kung fu thing to have him be the Iron Fist, and it showed on screen. Any time you saw him throwing a punch, it was like, oh wow, he's had 5 minutes of training. That's great.
Right.
Yeah, but that show was the Colleen Woo show, or that woman that played second fiddle to him through the whole show. I can't remember the character's name, but that was the one I was paying attention to through that whole show.
Yeah, she was very good. But she's been on Game of Thrones. She's been on several other different things. She's in that. Oh, what's the name of that new movie? The Fallout style movie with the monsters. Love and Monsters.
Is that a samurai? Yeah, I just saw a trailer for that.
It's not a samurai movie. It's a this kid ends up like.
No. The thing in the trailer was the guy pulls out a katana, and the guy's like,
yeah. He's like, is that a samurai sword? Yeah. So, I mean, she's been in a lot, and she's got a lot of training behind it. So, and it shows on screen.
Yeah.
Whereas, the actor that played Danny Rand, you can just tell he didn't have the time or the training to kind of translate that on screen.
I think it's weird because, I mean, Daredevil was such a good, in terms of fight choreography, show. And why couldn't they just take those same fight choreographers and put them on the Iron Fist, get the same thing? But
that hallway scene, holy crap!
Oh my god, yeah.
It looked like, and then you go to Iron Fist, it's like community theater. So
improv at the community college.
It's I hope they do Iron Fist right someday. They just cast, speaking of Star Wars, Oscar Isaac as Spark Spectre. Apparently,
yes, I know
something with some kind of property with Moon Knight. I don't know if it's a TV show or a movie. So
I had to look up who Moon Knight was, and I was like, to the extent that I was a comic book guy at all, which wasn't much. I was a Marvel guy, but I was like Spider-Man, and I had to look up who Moon Knight was.
Warren Ellis did a short Moon Knight run about 5 years ago.
Oh my god, so good!
Really, really good.
Josh, you would love the Warren Ellis run on Moon Knight.
He takes off the spandex, puts on a 3-piece suit.
With a mask on, with a white mask, and like is detective noir all over the city, but
nice.
he still have because the character is schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Um,
So
he's
Dale
had a
Button. Go ahead, Walt. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. He had a break with reality because of PTSD because he had served in a mercenary in Africa, and he starts imagining that the Egyptian god of justice is
Khonshu.
Khonshu is demanding his service. So he's always he's always talking to this invisible thing that's off over here while he's investigating, and the police are always like, "Who are you talking to? Do you have like a head mic in or something, like a direct line to like special agents helping you?" He goes, "Yes," and there's this big hulking evil looking thing like behind him that only he can see. It's really good.
That sounds very
Nice.
Deadpool.
No, well, he doesn't break the fourth wall.
Okay.
He's not aware that he's in a comic book. He has had a psychotic break, and because of that, he has multiple personalities, which are getting worse because as Moon Knight, he constantly has to like infiltrate different things. And yeah, there's the suit. He constantly has to infiltrate these different places, and because of that, his personalities are getting worse. So, and they kind of go into that in the comic, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, the Warren Ellis run is what I usually recommend to people. I mean, he's a Marvel character that's been around since the 60s or 70s. It can be wildly uneven. He's in the Avengers right now, and it's just kind of very strange. You remember the Justice League like 15 years ago? Someone broke into the Batcave, got all of Batman's files for a takedown the rest of the DC universe.
Yeah.
All right. They just did that, except with Moon Knight as Batman, and Khonshu goes evil and tries to take out the rest of the Marvel universe using Moon Knight. And,
nice. So, how about predictions for season 2 on Mandalorian?
Is Boba Fett coming back? Who says yes? Who says no?
I say no. I think like you mentioned Ahsoka earlier. I think that she's going to be part of the focus of season 2. I don't. First of all, it's kind of hard to tell because it's, at least to me, it's kind of ambiguous as to when this is happening, right? Like in the timeline. So, like, where are we in relation to?
4 years or it's 8 years after Andor.
So 8 years after Revenge of the Sith.
No, Andor. So 8 years after
Return of the Jedi.
Oh, Return of the Jedi.
And as far as Boba Fett, I'll say no, and I'm pretty sure I can support it. Episode 6, the woman gets shot. Fennec gets shot, and the guy comes walking up.
Mm-hmm.
The sound effect that they use when the boots come walking up is the same sound effect as they use for Boba Fett's armor. And there's a character running around Tatooine named Cobb Vanth.
Oh, he's the one who stole the armor.
Exactly. He bought Boba Fett's armor. So my argument is Boba Fett is dead. This guy, Cobb Vanth, is going to be running around in his armor, and it's going to be played by Timothy Olyphant from Deadwood. Bullock from Deadwood.
Is this stuff that happened in Rebels, or is it happened in season 1?
No, it happened in the EU.
Yeah, the Cobb Vanth stuff
EU,
happened in the books. Aftermath.
I gotcha.
So they've also hired the actor that played Jango Fett to. So I'm wondering if they're going to do like a thing where Timothy Olyphant steals the armor and Boba Fett approaches the Mandalorian to get his armor back.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
I think if Mandalorian saw somebody wearing that armor, I don't think it needs to be that complicated. I think Boba Fett's dead, and if the Mandalorian sees somebody wearing that armor, he's going to say, "Hey, wait a second," because he says they're only supposed to be up and around one at a time. So he's not just going to let that pass. And I saw in the trailer somebody that looked an awful lot like Barriss Offee. So that would be cool. And then the other thing I really want to see is Sabine and Ahsoka.
Yeah. So they got some big name actors for both of those roles, which is really cool. And if you're not familiar with Rebels and Clone Wars, Sabine is one of the major Mandalorians that becomes a leader of their people in various forms and factions. And then, of course, Ahsoka Tano is the young Padawan who leaves the Jedi Order before attaining the rank and kind of goes on her own and does her own thing. So
Yeah, and can I just say, I wanted to, when I first met Ahsoka in the Clone Wars movie, I hated her.
everybody
I
did.
wanted her to die, and they redeemed her through the story. Like, she's the reason I trust Dave Filoni, because through his storytelling in the Clone Wars, he redeemed that character.
Well, I
He
don't
made
think
that
it's
character worth caring about.
I don't think it's a matter of redemption. I think it's a matter of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I don't think it's a matter of redemption. I think it's a matter of a growth of the character, because I don't know about you, but anytime I have to deal with a whiny 12-year-old, my first instinct is to slap first and ask questions later. And that's what she was, even though she was, part of this very monistic military order. She was still a 12-year-old and acted like a 12-year-old, and you see her growth because she has these experiences. So I think that's a great way to look at that character, because I mean, who liked any of us at 12 years old?
Yeah, that's
our
true.
adults had the same reaction. You walk up and you're like, hey, what are all the adults talking about? And all they want to do is like, dude, we're drinking beer, go in the other room.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the same argument they made when everybody said Anakin was abrasive. They said he's a teenager. What do you expect?
Yep.
I think she's the best example I can think of a Scrappy Doo character making in a franchise. Oh no, honestly, she's kind of put there as an insert sidekick, and then they really, the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, I put those 4 back to back. I would argue it's one of the better movies in the franchise.
Yes.
Yeah,
and she's pretty much the main character.
I mean, Ahsoka is damn near unstoppable. If she's on the other side, that's a bad day. She is unstoppable.
But that's a great. Oh, go ahead, please, Josh.
I was just gonna say I just started watching Clone Wars. I think I'm like 8 episodes in. I started because Walt, you said at one time, I don't know if it was on the show or if we were just talking, and I don't remember if it was Rebels or Clone Wars, but you said the ending to one of those series was like the best ending any Star Wars has ever had.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both. So hopefully I'm going to try to binge those. It's kind of hard because there's so many.
Both of them end strong. Rebels is strong all the way through. Clone Wars, I feel, starts a little bit weaker and then gets stronger as it goes.
Yeah.
I've heard that too, and I feel like that is. I feel like it started out like a more of a kids entertainment show, and then it kind of grew into an actual mature story as the season progressed.
I thought I was the only one. I was on a play date with another kid's dad, because that's my life now. And we were talking about Clone Wars, and he was like, yeah, I like that show, but it puts me to sleep. I go, yeah, that was my experience for the first several seasons. I couldn't watch it later at night. But really, the last 4 episodes, you can just skip ahead and watch those. You don't need a lot of context.
You don't need to watch all the rest of it?
I mean, if you understand that it's just like a big sweeping war epic.
Right.
And you really want to get...
I didn't know if I needed to catch anything like story details that I wouldn't need for context for the last 4 episodes.
If you've seen the prequels, you've got most of what you need. There's a few character notes that might fly by you, but I think if you watch the whole last season, you probably get enough of, if you really want to be filled in. But yeah, just the four last.
And if you're really enjoying The Mandalorian, some of the thing about The Mandalorian is that you learn kind of in between the lines is that they are a multifaceted culture. So it's not just all Mandalorians are the same. Like in the Mandalorian cell that you have on the TV show, they never remove their armor. Whereas the ones in Clone Wars remove their armor all the time.
Yeah.
So it speaks to Filoni as a storyteller and how he understands that not all planets are just desert planet, snow planet, jungle planet, and not all people are just like, we're the Mandalorians, we never take off our helmets. People are. I mean, look at our own culture.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're all running around with Mandalorian helmets on. Whereas 6 months ago you couldn't get us to cover our faces. Instagram. It's like.
Well, it is a good point. All right, go ahead.
I was making a bad joke about Walt being an Instagram influencer. Please go ahead, Josh.
You don't want me in a thong. It's like a chia pet wrapped in dental floss.
That joke never gets old.
Yeah.
Speaking of things getting old, we're about where we should wrap up the podcast. I got to get back to my soul-crushing day job over here on this laptop.
Nice.
So, Mr. Hayes, appreciate you coming out to visit us. Listeners who have enjoyed the Josh Hayes experience here on BAMF Podcast and would like to enjoy more of the Josh Hayes world, go to Amazon, do a search on author Josh Hayes. You will find his stuff there.
Keystroke Medium.
Keystroke Medium on Facebook. You can see Josh's thoughts and Josh and a cast of other writers talking about the writing life and process and whatnot. Anything I'm missing, Josh?
Coffee.
No, we got live shows Monday, Thursday, and Walt has Coffee and Concepts most of the time on Tuesdays if he's not sleeping because he's a slacker. On this Thursday, we have Christopher Paglione, who wrote Aragon.
Oh,
He's coming on the Thursday night show for an AMA on his latest novel, and I don't remember the title. And we're selling coffee now.
Oh, that's cool.
We just launched our coffee brand today. The website went live, and we've already got orders coming in. And Keystroke Coffee, we've got 6 blends. It's as far as specialty coffees go, it's on the. We tried to price it as cheaply as we could to make it available for enough. Walt had the first order. I think he made the first order within 15 seconds of the website going live.
I'm the coffee guy. I had to get the first order. I mean, how could I live that down?
True.
The first order was just the beginning.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
That's true.
So what has a higher profit margin, or return on investment? Writing novels or selling coffee?
Well, it's hard to say because.
Well, maybe she crunch the numbers a couple months, come back and.
Yeah, I don't. We're doing the coffee just as kind of a bonus. We've wanted to do it for a while. I love coffee. Everybody else that's on the show loves coffee, and we wanted to do it as a brand. We're doing there you go. Yeah, thank you. We're trying to make Keystroke a big influencer in the writing community and doing more things that are more community related. So coffee and games and fun shows. We're going to get a couple more shows coming online in the next few months just to provide more content. And it's so much fun. And the show doesn't make a whole lot of money. It pays for itself, but the opportunities we have got through Keystroke have been absolutely life-changing, and there's a lot of people involved in the community that aren't even hosts. They're just people that come and hang out with us. They've got opportunities, and it's a really fun thing. So the coffee thing is just kind of a fun thing to include in our community, and it's the profit margin is there. We make a little bit of money. I could be wrong. It could blow up and we could just be like Black Rifle Coffee and just take over the place. But I don't think it's going to be that substantial. I think it's going to be a little bit of a cool bonus and just a fun thing to do. So
I was actually just fucking with you when I asked, but that's cool.
Oh.
Keystroke Medium is an awesome community. People should viewers and listeners of BAMF Podcast, check it out. Keystroke Medium on Facebook. They a lot of fun content featuring the 2 guys right down here. And love to have you guys on in the future. Joe, love to have you back if you're up for it, man.
Sure, anytime.
I'm good to talk about it.
Anytime you want to geek out about Star Wars, I am all for it.
All right, cool. Well, I got to wrap things up and go get professional on a Zoom call over here. So I'll let you guys go. And to all our listeners and viewers, thanks for checking us out on the BAMF Podcast. We'll catch you next time.
We wear no pants.
I wear.
I specifically put on pants for this, damn it.
Walt is wearing a kilt in honor of his Scottish heritage. All right, thanks, folks. Talk to you later.
Mawashi.